Contour cutting is the process of cutting around the outer edge of a printed image in a predetermined path following the very contour of the design.
See, I'm afraid some craft cutter owners might take this feature for granted because the Silhouette and probably other hobby cutters offer a similar feature. However, the contour cutting feature is not standard on a lot of 24-inch cutters. So to find that feature on a cutter that is fast, efficient, and affordable is something to celebrate.
And Scion Warehouse's LXI RIP software makes the process pretty simple. Let's see what contour cutting looks like with a demonstration we shot in our North Texas gallery. We have the QE6000 paired with our PrismJet VJ24 from Scion Warehouse to make some basic sticker decals. We used our LXI RIP 12 software to first send the job to the printer. Notice LXI adds printed registration marks around our images. Now we'll load the printed media onto the QE6000. It's as simple as lifting the pinch rollers, feeding the material through, and lowering the pinch rollers again. Don't stress about loading the media perfectly straight. The cutter will adjust the cut path once it reads the registration mark, so you don't have to get it perfect. That's one of the benefits of the ARMS 5.0 firmware. We now want to make sure the cutter knows it's cutting a sheet instead of a roll so we don't overfeed the material. The cutter will then auto-feed the material as it measures the length of the loaded sheet. This is a chance to make sure that the material is tracking well and loaded good enough. Now we'll go back to our LXI 12 software and open Production Manager. Now I queued the cut job early when I sent my print job. So if I click on the Q6000 here in Production Manager, we see that the job is holding. Just click the highlighted job and click Send. LXI RIP will prompt you to position the cutter blade within the first registration mark. We use the arrow keys on the control panel to move the blade to that first registration mark.
And new users always wonder where exactly to set your origin point, whether at the tip of the corner or just anywhere within the general area. What you want to do is find a midpoint between the corner's two ends. So on a registration mark like this, I would picture an imaginary line connecting these 2 points here. You want to move your cutter blade to the midpoint of that imaginary line. You could always measure it if you want to be precise, but most people get comfortable enough to eyeball where the origin point should go.
Right, and it's not that precise because again the cutter's firmware is pretty forgiving. So we want to move the blade to the desired position and press the origin button on your cutter. Once the origin point has been set, click OK in the LXI Production Manager window. That will launch the Q6000 into action, scanning all 4 registration marks and then automatically begin cutting out the decals.
So there's the QE6000 on the right doing its thing. You'll notice the VJ24 is also busy. We'll talk about the significance of that in a minute. But again, as you grow your sign business or just take on more and more applications with your vinyl cutter, you cannot overestimate the value of the contour cutting feature.
So some of the other features of the QE6000 include the Smart Blade Landing System, which supports cutting fine films like window tint and super thin chrome. Now this is a brilliant feature. What happens is the cutter actually scans the surface of the media so it knows exactly where the top of that vinyl is, so it knows where it's going to come in contact with it, and it can modulate how much force it uses to begin cutting. Just a really precise feature. So the benefit of this is it eliminates vertical motion by only raising the blade enough to clear the surface and not going all the way up and all the way down. This speeds job output so your jobs will get done faster and reduces vibration so your cutter lasts longer. This is one reason these cutters are so reliable and just one of the benefits of its advanced engineering. The other benefit I should mention is you can control the force with which it makes contact with your film, so you can cut really thin and really sensitive materials like window tint film with exquisite precision.
Right. It's just a smart machine, a well-engineered cutter. It also has a full LCD control panel loaded with features to help speed production and optimize the cut quality.